At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability, because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, guess what? You'd be right if you were saying it's time for the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network, trying a new experimental time. Pull this bad boy up here a little bit. Trying it just to see how things go. Starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, which would be 9 p.m. Eastern. Same bat time, same bat. Well, no, same bat time, same bat channel, though. SHRmedia.com. So I'm just going to try and see. This is customarily Jersey Joe's time. I don't think he's going to be coming back for a while, so I'm going to steal his time. So for the next bloody 2 hours, that's right, same show, still 2 hours. Don't think that it's lessened at all. Because, after all, you got to belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat, and it's great to see you back. Flackbait is going to be your bartender tonight. He pours with the best of them, and the lava lamp is in fact lighted to my left, your right. What that means is you can listen on the SHR Media Network. That's where you're going to be chatting as well. And it also means that if you want to watch the show, you can watch on the SHR Media Facebook page live. It's going right now. And or you can watch on the SHR Media YouTube channel. And it's summertime. It's in the summertime when the weather is hot. You can shush right up and whatever the hell Mungo Jerry said. You know, I didn't quite understand the lyrics of Mungo Jerry's In the Summertime. In the summertime when the weather is hot. Yeah, that's right. In the summertime when the weather is hot. Well, the weather is hot. And how does BZ happen to know that? Because when BZ entered the studio today, the air conditioning wasn't on, and it's like 88 in Sacramento today. Oh, today is May 8th, the year of our Lord 2018. This is the May 8th edition of the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. I should tell you that for the first new time edition of the Saloon, we're going to have on tonight Dan Butcher when he calls in. Now, be still my quaking little heart, my little clotted heart. With the new phone system that we have installed now, and we're in the processing of upgrading 2 additional phone systems, which means we may have 2 different numbers for different things. It's all in the works. I want to tell you, Sackhead Sean isn't really gone. He's still here. No one has hung him in effigy. He's still at work, and behind the scenes. Maybe he's behind my chair right now. You'll never know if he crawls out. Don't be seen. Don't be seen. That's why I say you're behind the scenes, Sean. But he's working on the phone system, and I'm hoping we've got it now to the point that when Dan Butcher calls in on Skype for the first time, this never really happened before. Why am I revealing inside baseball stuff? when Dan Butcher calls in, I will have allegedly complete control over him, and I won't have to have the people that are calling in, I won't have to tell them, shh, don't say a bad word during the break because then you're going to be heard. I can actually pot the guest down like a regular radio show, and when I play an audio cut, and we'll find out very shortly after Dan calls in, whether or not Dan can hear the audio cut so that I can get a response from the guest who happens to be calling in on the radio show because they're hearing the exact same thing that I am. That's what I've wanted on a regular. That's what I've wanted right here for SHR ever since I got here. And finally, a lot of things have happened for SHR that are positive. Dan Butcher himself, for example, has done an immaculate, wonderful, extravagant job on SHRmedia.com. He updates that bad boy every day. If you want to find out what's happening in news, go to SHRmedia.com. That's where you go when you want to just listen to the show and you want to engage in the chat room. Nobody's in the chat room right now. I'm not tragically surprised. And when folks listen to this in podcast, the bottom line is this. I'm soliciting feedback. I want to find out. Now, obviously, what I've had up to this point is a very late-night radio show. Certainly back east, starting at 11 p.m., that's a way, way, way late-night radio show. And I'm finding out that most of my listeners are back east. They're like from Texas east. And I don't have very many listeners on the left coast. Now, in one fashion, you might say, well, that makes a lot of sense because everyone on the left coast is, in fact, a blazing leftist, which would be pretty much true. And so I thought, okay, maybe to try to make it easier for people on the far right coast, instead of starting at 11 o'clock, maybe if I start at 9 o'clock, I might be able to get some more listeners, some more watchers, perhaps some more followers on Twitter for SHR, perhaps some more listeners for SHR in general, for the show, watchers, etc. So it's sort of an experiment. I'm going to wait and see if you guys have any comments one way or the other. All I'm asking is that you either let us know on shrmedia.com. You can go to my Twitter at BZEP, ampersand BZEP, and weigh in there. Or you can send me an email, bz@shrmedia.com. Or you can just go to SHR Media on the Facebook page and make a comment on the SHR Media Facebook page. Did you like it? Did you not? Do you hate me? Do you want me to go away forever? All leftists do, so thank you very much. That's already been told to me numerous times with capitalized F and S words. Caution, tonight, explicit. That won't change. Dan, okay, hang on just 1 second. Dan needs to know the number to call, and we haven't changed that particular number. But there are two possible numbers in the future.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
That we're going to be using, and it's interesting that Dan asked, because perhaps I should tell you right now that one of the numbers that we've gotten is a 1-800 number, which is interesting. That may end up being the outside the studio calling in from everywhere number. And then we've got another one from a phone system called Freedom Voice that Sean didn't realize he'd been subscribing to for about 4 years now. And that will have a separate number. So if we want to break down people calling in from the outside, maybe we'll use the 1-800 number, an in-studio number just for people that are going to be on the show. There are a whole bunch of things that we can do for this. But just for tonight, the two main things that I want to do tonight is I want to have Dan Butcher on the show so that I find out if the phone systems are working appropriately, like any other radio station, like any other show. And I also want to find out if people that are watching or listening later in podcast, if it makes any difference to them whatsoever as to whether or not, hey, here we go. Okay, let's try that. Dan Butcher, are you on the line?
Good evening. Am I caller number 100? Do I win?
Yes. Funny you should mention that because we have for you as a consolation prize a 1963 Chevrolet Corvair just for you. Unsafe at any speed, according to Ralph Nader. Isn't that a great prize? Wouldn't you take that?
That's
Sure,
awesome. Greatest car ever built. Right behind the Ford Pinto.
Oh, my God. You should laugh. Back in a long time ago, let's just put it that way. A long time ago, a buddy of mine had a Ford Pinto, and for whatever reason, he was so enamored with the car that he called it his Night Fighter. You know, at the time, there were about 1.728 billion Ford Pintos on the roadway, and having purchased a Ford Pinto, he thought somehow that made him special. I don't know, maybe it made him special in terms of the helmet that he wore or the bus that he took. Later on, I'm not sure. Ford Pintos, folks, if you don't know what that is, look in your favorite search engine or go to Wikipedia. Once you see a photograph, like Dan says, of a Ford Pinto, you'll go, oh my gosh, hey, that's as sought after as a Nash Metropolitan. Not quite so much.
If you just Google exploding rear end,
That's true.
You'll either get a big fat guy farting or you'll get a Ford Pinto. One of the two.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, it's great to see you here. I was introducing you appropriately, and it's great to have you back. As I was telling everybody, this is a grand experiment right now. I'm going to see if I happen to get any more listeners at this time, starting 2 hours earlier. It's, let's see, it's where you are in Tejas. It's 2 hours earlier, so it's 8 p.m. for you. It's 6 p.m. for us, and it's 9 p.m. for people on the far right coast. So I'll be curious to see if that works at all. So Dan, welcome. Great to hear you. Haven't heard from you in a while. You've been busy with all sorts of things. But number one, as I am always want to do, I want you to tell folks where you can be read and found, your social media, because you have a great website and you are a journalist yourself. Please, where can they find you?
Oh, man, we are all over the place now. Where do we start? You know what? If you will Google highplainspundit.com, you can Google, you could do highplainsdailynews.com, you can do highplainstalkradio.com. Any of those will get you to our radio networks, our political websites, our news websites. We're just kind of everywhere. Basically, you know what? If you just Google High Plains Pundit, that'll get you to everything because, of course, I am the High Plains Pundit. And, of course, also you can find me on SHRmedia.com. I just do some good old-fashioned blogging and news aggregation for SHR. So we do a lot of different things there that we do than what we do on our other news websites. So make sure you check out everything that we do at shrmedia.com as well, man. But other than that, man, if you just Google us, you can get us just about everywhere. I'm very fortunate and very blessed. We are actually the most read regional website in the state of Texas for medium-sized metro areas, and so we're very fortunate, and we take our job very seriously. Our motto is, we bring you news and information with a dose of much-needed common sense, which is very lacking today.
Oh, God.
For a lot of folks, BC.
Oh, have you ever got that right? There's a bunch of stuff to go over. There's almost too much stuff for words tonight. In setting up the show, I was thinking, okay, well, I set up the show probably 2 or 3 days in advance, and over the weekend, a few things had occurred. Monday, it got a little bit more interesting. Today, holy crap, talk about an assload of things that are going on today. Maybe one of the first that I'd like to mention is we got Mike Pompeo confirmed as Secretary of State, replacing, God, now I can't even remember the guy, Rex Tillerson, who was not really in my opinion, one of the most impressive bipedal units on the entire planet. But Mike Pompeo was confirmed, former CIA director. Now he's the Secretary of State. Confirmed by the hair of his chinny chin chin. Rand Paul acquiesced and said, okay, fine, I won't oppose Mike Pompeo. But now one of the things we know is he is going over to North Korea to set up the meeting between President Trump and Ril Kim of North Korea. Also occurring this week, and the reason I bring Pompeo up is for the North Korea aspect, but also because another confirmation is coming. And maybe you can tell me it's either tomorrow, Wednesday, or Thursday. I'm not quite sure which day, but it will be Gina Haspel, a CIA insider, to replace Pompeo as CIA director. And I think she might have a bit of a challenge, but just as I thought Pompeo would have a challenge, Dan, do you have any thoughts about Gina Haspel and the probability of her being confirmed as CIA director?
I think she's going to be confirmed. Let me start with this. I think it would be, the big issue that the Democrat, or actually the big non-issue that the Democrat.
At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability, because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were ever going to get any money back. And then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. All so you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Democrats are trying to make an issue with this nomination is the fact that Gina Haspel was part of the now infamous interrogation techniques such as waterboarding, et cetera, et cetera. And so they're trying to tie her to that, saying that she's unfit to serve as CIA director and yada, 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 which you and I both know is total BS.
No.
This lady is a career law enforcement. She is career spy. She's worked her way up. She's earned. Here's the thing.
Yes.
You're talking about somebody that Trump, there's a lot of people thought, well, Trump's just nominated her because a woman. The hell with that.
Oh, bullshit.
This lady has worked her way up through the ranks. She has done the work. She has worked her ass off and deserves this nomination. She is an outstanding pick. And I think I think it would be absolutely disastrous for the Republicans not to confirm her. because that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to the
Yep.
Republicans versus the Democrats. It's going to be interesting to see where John McCain goes on this, especially since he has completely gone out of his ever-living
John
mind here in the
McCain.
last week as far as the Trump administration. He might as well go ahead and change his party affiliation. I mean, he's gone full-blown maverick to the left in this case. But I think she's going to be confirmed. I think it's going to be another narrow margin, Republicans versus Democrats, like it was with the confirmation of Pompeo. And now, talking about Pompeo, this is going to be his second meeting with Kim.
Yes,
so
exactly.
these two know each other already. They know each other very well. And you talk about being thrown into the fire, and I know we're going to talk about this here in a few minutes with Trump announcing the United States withdrawing from the Iran nuclear deal. But you talk about being thrown into the fire. Here he is. He's on his way right now to North Korea to do all the advanced setups for the summit between Kim and President Trump. And now, all of a sudden, as soon as he gets done with that, now he's going to have to come back and have to deal with a lot of if there's going to be fallout from the U.S. withdrawing from the Iran nuclear deal. So Pompeo, another excellent choice for Secretary of State.
Agreed.
And quite personally, I think the man is up to the challenge. And that's what Trump's doing now. He's putting people in place that he wanted to put in place to begin with. No political favors here. These are people he's comfortable with, that he's putting into the jobs that have the qualifications, and you're seeing a lot of politics as usual that you saw with the nomination and the confirmation process with Pompeo, and now, of course, with Gina Haspel.
Every presidential administration is different. Every one of them is new. If they had 3 terms, which they shouldn't have, we don't need another FDR. However, that said, each administration needs a while to get on its feet. There are going to be paybacks for various political things up front.
Right.
That's fine. And Donald Trump has a history of you're fired anyway. So everyone,
exactly.
The leftists attribute that to nothing more than it's chaos. It's chaos. It's chaos at the Trump in the West Wing. He doesn't know what he's doing. Everything is turning to crap, except that, of course, everything is not turning to crap. Now, since we're mentioning crap, and since we're mentioning the GOP, both in the same sentence, oddly enough, I'd like to have you weigh in on some special elections that are coming up that are not coming up, that are here right now. Some primaries. We talked about Mike Pompeo. He's confirmed. I think, like you, Gina Haspel is going to be confirmed. There will be a lot of posturing, and a lot of puffing out of chests and whatnot. But I find the West Virginia race for senator, the primary, very, very interesting right now. I don't have any of the results because I'm doing this stuff instead of looking at Drudge or any of the other the inputs, and I don't have the TVs facing me right now. But in West Virginia, the GOP has spent $10 million in this race, which is an assload of money for the GOP. Now, they've got 3 people in a runoff for Senate to try to replace so that they can run someone against the Democrat Senator Joe Manchin right now in West Virginia.
Right.
But we've got Don Blankenship versus Evan Jenkins versus a guy named Patrick Morrissey. Don Blankenship is the former coal guy who got I think he had to do some actual time for a coal violation in some fashion. He's off his probation today or tonight, one of the two. He's running. He is entirely self-funded. Trump now has come out against him and said, you ought to vote for that guy Jenkins or that guy Morrissey. I'm not really behind this Blankenship dude. Now, Evan Jenkins, the second guy up, is currently the U.S. representative for West Virginia. And then Patrick Morrissey is I think he's a 2-term or a 2-time attorney general for West Virginia. So it's a pretty impressive race. And considering all those three people now, Dan Butcher. Whom do you think is going to walk away at the end of tonight with that win?
Well, let me tell you, and I want to kind of give everybody a little bit of perspective on what's happened in West Virginia. Of course, you mentioned that on Monday, President Trump came out and literally pleaded with voters to oppose Don Blankenship.
Yep.
Of course, he spent a year in prison for his role in a fatal mining explosion, and of course, whoever wins the GOP primary is going to go up against the incumbent Democrat, who is Joe Manchin, and who, by the way, has won tonight. He was going up against Paulus Swearigan, and he right now has 69, almost 70% of the vote. So he's going to win that handily.
Incumbent.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing with West Virginia. West Virginia has, for many, many years, has been very, very friendly for Democrats, but has in recent years it shifted, a very strong shift to the right, mainly because the citizens were just teetotally pissed off at the Obama administration's war on coal. And so you've seen that shift to the right. So, but coming right now, the way, I'm going to tell you right now, the election right now is going to be a toss-up between Morrissey and Evan Jenkins. Right now, the way the results are looking right now, Morrissey has a little over 24,200 votes, so he's got 35% of the vote. Evan Jenkins has almost 20,000 votes with 28.7%. Blankenship's coming up in third with almost 14,000 votes and 20% of the vote. So it looks like you're going to have one of those situations where you're probably going to have a runoff between Morrissey and Jenkins in this case. And so it's going to be a kind of a toss up. But if you're going to say somebody has an advantage, it's probably Morrissey. In this case, he may have a little bit more of an advantage over Jenkins. It'll be interesting to see where Trump weighs in on that later on.
Right.
But no matter who the Republican, now here's the kicker in all of this. Okay, I mentioned that West Virginia in recent years has shifted to the right. Well, let's talk about the incumbent Democrat in this race and how much he has shifted to the right. Even though he's a Democrat, a lot of times he does walk in the same path as the Republicans. And so as West Virginia has shifted, so has the incumbent, Joe Manchin. He has shifted further to the right. So that could actually, the shift, the fact that a lot of his policies and the way he's voted in recent years could actually help him, even though he's the Democrat, could actually help him because they will see him as one of the good old-fashioned, conservative Democrats, right-leaning Democrats. And so regardless of who wins that GOP primary, they're still going to have a real uphill battle to defeat Manchin, just because he's not walking lock and step. Here you have the Democrats across the country that are embracing socialism, embracing just going really as far to the left as they can. Joe Manchin's just the opposite. He's turning to the right to where he is almost walking the center aisle on a lot of things and then going to the right. He might be considered, here in the state of Texas, he would be considered a liberal Republican. In your state, he'd be considered a conservative Republican. But along the lines, Joe, the incumbent, he's pretty. In a lot of other states, he's a Republican.
Yeah.
So whoever wins the GOP primary is still going to have a tough battle on their hands to unseat him.
Oh my God! You make an excellent point though, because West Virginia has historically been Democrat, and the reason it's been Democrat is because they've been pro-worker, pro-unionizing up until 2016, when Hillary Clinton came out and said quite specifically, just like Barack Obama, and said, I'm going to do the very level best to make anyone interested in the coal business uninterested. Further, I'm going to do my very level best to run your ass out of business. Hillary Clinton picked up that mantra in 2016, and you began to see the voters finally realize, I don't think they like my job. As a matter of fact, it seems to me that like they want to do me out of my job. Well, that's not going to play real well. Okay, so basically what you're saying, Dan Butcher, is you're prognosticating Dan Blankenship ain't going to make it, and it may end up being it's going to be either Evans or Morrissey, and you're leaning a little bit towards Morrissey as of this point.
I'm leaning towards more. I'm looking towards, in the general election in November. I'm looking at it being Joe Manchin against Patrick Morrissey.
Okay, we got 2 more minutes before the bottom of the hour. 1/2 hour almost down. Boom, like that. Boom shakalaka. Another interesting thing occurred this week. Didn't see this one coming either, but I think it's an excellent, it's an exquisite choice. The NRA has now made Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North president of the NRA. I think that's a brilliant move, and this is a guy that I believe has a good backing and can get things done and can be an excellent representative at this tumultuous time period for the NRA. What do you think of Colonel Ollie being NRA president?
Look at how Oliver North's career has come full circle. You know, he was the fall guy for Iran Contra.
Yep.
Okay, during the Reagan years, and now he's come full circle. He had regained his credibility, his standing. Most recently, he's been a political expert on a lot of different news networks and stuff like that. And now here he is, probably back at the pinnacle of his career. He's going to be the next head chair of the NRA. Let me tell you something. I always thought that probably the best NRA president was Charlton Heston. I think Charlton Heston.
Bingo.
Charlton Heston did for the NRA
Bingo.
like Ronald Reagan. Of course, a popular actor, comes into politics, becomes a political activist. Of course, Reagan went on to become governor in California and then president. But then Charlton Heston really brought the NRA to prominence. I think Ollie North is going to take the NRA to that next level, because stop and think about this. Look at how the NRA is under fire right now.
Yep.
Everybody, and excuse the pun, but everybody is gunning on the left. As much as they hate guns, they're gunning for the NRA. They're gunning to eliminate the Second Amendment, to confiscate guns and stuff like that. So you talk about somebody that has been to the bottom, been burned to ashes, risen up from the heap, back to the top, that's been tried and true, been through everything, somebody that is tough and can handle the fight. Ollie North is it. And I think our friends on the left are going to find that they have a very, very formidable opponent in Ollie North. He is not going to be a pushover. He's not going to put up with any bullshit from the right or the left. He's going to defend the Second Amendment, and I think and you watch. The folks on the left are going to try to drudge up his past, try to use that against him. And Ollie North's going to be like, hey, you know what? We've talked about this. We've already been through this. Yeah, did I possibly screw up? Yeah, I screwed up.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
But you know what? That's the past. Now let's talk about the Second Amendment and how stupid you folks are and how you don't understand the Constitution. Excellent pick.
I think he's the right guy for the right time in the right place.
Exactly.
Especially in these challenging times. Folks, we're talking to Dan Butcher. We're going to be right back after this. You are listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads radio show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplanestalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the Bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sackheads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are in fact listening to the SHR Media Network, live and direct from the SHR Media Network studios. I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, 2 miles from the Bill Mill, Sacramento, California, the belly of the beast, the locus of evil on the entire West Coast. Tonight, you can't smell so much sulfur. It's not dark yet. And that's because of the strange hours that I've got starting here at 6 p.m. Pacific. Wow. And tonight, we've got Dan Butcher on the line. He's going to be here during the show. And this just in, I just got this from Fox News because I was looking at some stuff on the break. It says the West Virginia primary is too early to call. Apparently, Indiana's Mike Braun and Ohio's Jim Renacci, they did win the Senate GOP primaries. West Virginia, that very highly contested state, they can't go there yet. So as this comes on, as we get more information, we'll let everybody know what's occurring. But despite that, my God, Dan, we haven't even... This is just the proverbial tip of the iceberg for all the crap that all the buttery political goodness that I have lined up for you and I tonight. And I say, like, when things come in, we'll let everybody know about various updates on these primaries with regard to the GOP. Today, at 2 o'clock Eastern, President Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, came out and said, not only is the wet head dead, but the Iran deal is not just moribund, it's dead as well. Further, oh, wait, if you thought that was it, as I want to say, but wait, there's more. Then he decides that he's going to slap some additional sanctions on the lovely and loving, peaceful nation-state of Iran. He said the U.S. is pulling out of the Iran nuke deal, keeping his promise. This was a campaign promise. And apparently this is a dude who places some kind of emphasis on keeping campaign promises, unlike just about any other presidential candidate that we've experienced in the past. Kept his promise to...
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Rip up what he called the worst deal ever, but ignite... Oh, here we go. But igniting fears that the Islamic regime in Tehran will fast-track a nuclear bomb. Stop. What makes anyone think that Iran wasn't already fast-tracking a nuclear bomb? Does anyone think that Iran, after having received pallets of cash as ransom for one thing, plus, God, maybe you can help me, Dan. The specific number escapes my mind, but I think it was at least $100 billion into the coffers of Iran. It was a bribe. It was a payoff to keep Iran from expanding its nuclear program. And I'm sure, here's what happened. Now, I'm folks, you're going to have to do this visual with me unless you're watching on the SHR Facebook page live, or you're watching on the YouTube channel, the SHR YouTube channel. I'm sure that what happened is all the mullahs sat down in a beautiful table with lovely air conditioning and said, okay, we just got $100 billion. We're going to have to stop that nuclear program. Okay, now everyone weighing in, all hands for those people that want to stop our nuclear program because we're going to abide by the deal, right? And I'm sure all the hands went up. Didn't they? Dan Butcher.
Oh, sure they did. BZ, there's a lot of different things. There's going to be a lot of good ramifications for this. There's going to be some bad ramifications from this. Let's start with some of the bad stuff that could happen. There's a lot of U.S. business deals, somewhere in the tune of tens of billions of dollars that could be rendered illegal. So some businesses might suffer from this. You're probably going to see oil, which just recently went back over $70 a barrel on yesterday, as a matter of fact. When new sanctions take effect, you're looking at the possibility of over 500,000 barrels a day of Iranian oil being taken off of the market. So that could lead to higher gas prices, oil prices, et cetera, et cetera. You could see an escalation in the Syrian conflict. You might see an escalation in terrorism. So there's a lot of different things that on the bad side of this. Let's look at the good side of this. Obviously, we've gotten out of a very bad deal. Now we can actually do some things to neuter the Iranian nuclear program. The terrorism across the globe just took a big hit today. Now, I know a lot was made of and let's just call it what it is. It was a bribe to the Iranians, all of the money that the Obama administration sent to them. But that was just a tip in the barrel of the cash flow of the Iranians once all of their bank accounts across the globe were unfrozen. Think about that. Once all of the Iranian bank accounts were unfrozen because of the relief from the sanctions, all of a sudden all of that cash flow is starting to come in. And, of course, Iran is probably, without a doubt, the undisputed funder of most terrorism across the globe today. They are funding terrorism, and they use that money from their oil sales and different things to fund terrorism. That's how they try to affect things politically behind the scenes, is through terrorism. And so they fund terrorists across the globe, and that's going to take a big hit because once these sanctions go back into place, a lot of lost revenue from oil sales. It's going to kind of kick China and Russia in the butt a little bit because they, especially China, because China was the largest, purchased the most Iranian oil of any other country. So it's going to kind of hit them a little bit. But the big thing is you're going to start seeing a lot of that revenue that was flowing in to Iran once the bank accounts, because those bank accounts, there's going to be a lot of sanctions placed on those again, and you're going to see the money stream squeezed a lot, and it's going to really hurt the funding of terrorism across the globe. So a major victory in the war on terror today by simply pulling out of this atrocious agreement. Now, where does this go from here? People are saying, well, you know what? This is the dumbest, stupid move. This is the dumbest move Donald Trump's ever made. Well, you know what? A couple of months ago, they were saying that about Donald Trump and North Korea, and here we are literally about 2 weeks away. We've already had a major meeting between the leaders of North Korea and South Korea. North Korea has visited South Korea, and now we're talking, the negotiations are on to actually finally end the Korean War. It would not be surprising to me if that document is not signed while Trump is in meeting with Kim. It would not surprise me if that happens at that moment. So you're seeing what the Trump diplomacy has done there. And I think what this is going to do as far as the Iranians are concerned is they know that he means business, because Trump went against everybody in the world. Everybody, all of our allies are telling Trump, don't pull out of this, don't pull out of this. And the Iranians were warning, don't pull out of this. Well, guess what? Trump pulls out anyway because he knows that it is not only in the best interest of the United States, but in the best interest of the free world.
Yes.
And with this move today, as much as the success that we've had with neutering North Korea, now here it is. He's dealing with Iran, starting to deal with the Middle East situation, with Syria and stuff like that. What this has done, and this is very important, this move today officially restores the United States of America as the leader of the free world, which is something that the Obama administration had withdrawn us from. They didn't want us to be the leader of the free world.
No.
They actually saw that. As a negative. But Trump has put us as the leader of the free world again, and guess what? With that, the world became a much safer place today.
Obama's two major phrases made sense only to a 5-year-old. The first was
exactly
strategic patience. What the fuck is that? Number 2, leading from behind. That makes no sense. 5-year-olds again went, this guy must be an utter incompetent nincompoop. But that
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Leads us also to this. I believe that when Netanyahu presented that, and I think it was about 15, 20 minutes, his PowerPoint and live presentation about what really was occurring with regard to Iran, I tend to think that that was the thing that kind of put Donald Trump over the head. Here's what Benjamin Netanyahu had to say today with regard to Trump's decision to nix the Iran deal.
Israel fully supports President Trump's bold decision today to reject the disastrous nuclear deal with the terrorist regime in Tehran. Israel has opposed the nuclear deal from the start because we said that rather than blocking Iran's path to a bomb, the deal actually paves Iran's path to an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs, and this within a few years' time.
That's right. And on the back end of that thing, after a period of time, they could have begun, allegedly, if they weren't continuing to do it, which they were. And Benjamin Netanyahu proved that they had never stopped doing it. What an intelligence coup that was. Folks, if you didn't know, Israel intelligence somehow managed to infiltrate Iran, go into a locked warehouse, and recover over 1 ton of documents from Iran indicating that they were still highly active seeking a nuclear program. And moreover, there are some people that believe that Iran currently possesses a nuclear weapon. I find that amazing. Benjamin Netanyahu continues.
The removal of sanctions under the deal has already produced disastrous results. The deal didn't push war further away. It actually brought it closer. The deal didn't reduce Iran's aggression. It dramatically increased it. And we see this across the entire Middle East. Since the deal, we've seen Iran aggression grow every day in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Yemen, in Gaza, and most of all, in Syria, where Iran is trying to establish military bases from which to attack Israel.
All funded by American cash, American taxpayer cash. Simultaneously, this is already occurring. And I find it very interesting, the non-reaction by the left of this. And that's the fact. Oh, let me back up a little bit about the Iran plan. People are saying, oh, well, it's a treaty. Guess what, boys and girls? It was never a treaty. Treaties have to be ratified by the Senate. It was merely a deal. And by the way, folks, for those of you who just tuned in and may not know, it was up for renewal every 90 days. All Donald Trump did was decide that we're not going to renew it this time. So a big difference between those aspects. Now, this is, again, where I'd like to have your input. We are finding out that John Kerry, who was a co-architect of the Iran deal, has been meeting. He's a civilian. He's not in any governmental position whatsoever. But as a civilian, he has been dealing with Iranian officials to try to undermine as much as he possibly could, anything that Donald Trump was attempting to do. In other words, he is being conciliatory to the Iranian regime, and he is working against the efforts of D.C. Does that sound to you, Dan Butcher, anything remotely close to what one would term a violation of the Logan Act, the exact same thing that leftists were accusing Donald Trump of in 2016, except this could not be more overt. Your thoughts, sir?
He is in violation of the Logan Act, and let's face it. John Kerry is now a two-time traitor to this country, and I mean, borderline treasonous in what he has done. He was trying to, in my opinion, the actions of John Kerry were undermining the national security of the United States of America. It was undermining the security of our national interest abroad. He was putting United States citizens in peril, in danger. So anywhere that you look at this, he was undermining. He was not just the administration. He was undermining the United States of America, the very security of this country. And with that, it would not surprise me, and especially as vocal as Trump is being right now on the actions of John Kerry. He's a two-time traitor now to our country. There's no way to put it. And of course, the Obama administration loved to put traitors in various aspects of the administration. So it's not surprising that John Kerry would attempt to do something like this. It's the other thing. The only thing that's not more surprising is that Hillary wasn't by his side lobbying for a lot of this, because you have to remember Hillary. While visiting New Zealand, was talking about how bad it was under the Trump administration, and that she'd actually considered moving abroad. Well, you know what? Why don't you move your fat ass abroad? Now, and oh no, God, here it comes. Here comes the insensitivity, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, why don't it? Because I'm sick and tired of these folks, and especially the actions of John Kerry. He put you can't put it any other way. He put the security of our country second to the interest of a nation that openly brags about state-sponsored terrorism. They openly brag about funding terrorism, about openly calling for the destruction of Israel, openly calling for the very folks they had a treaty with, the United States of America. I want to stress this to everybody. John Kerry put the interest of a terrorist nation, a state sponsor of terrorism across the globe. He put their interest above the security of the American people, above the security of our national interest abroad, above the security of all of our allies. And it would not surprise me. Well, let me say this. It wouldn't surprise me if he is brought up on some type of charges. Now, do I think it will happen? No, I don't think it. But we could sit here and we could love to talk about how this would do it. But I think in the long run, as we've seen with a lot of people that have tried to attack Trump, I think this is going to absolutely, I really do think this is going to absolutely destroy John Kerry's legacy. As tarnished as it was before, we love to talk about his actual legacy, and that is of being a traitor to this nation. Now, he's a two-time traitor to this nation. And I think when it's all said and done, and if Trump has his way, he is going to be, he's definitely, any political aspirations, anything that he has as far as his future. Of course, he's got tons of money. He loves to park his sailboat at different things and live off of his wife's money, et cetera, et cetera. So, but as for his image, I think he's going to be drastically tarnished by all this, and I certainly hope that he's brought up on some type of charges, because BZ, can you get any more treasonous than putting the national interest of admitted terrorists above the national security of your own citizens? I can't think of anything.
Well, and this is how craven he happens to be as well. This is all to make sure that these are air quotes, the legacy of Barack Obama is buttressed and supported. So he's willing to try to continue to influence, or I guess you would say manipulate, to continue the support of Obama's legacy, when in fact his legacy will always be known to be reducing the military, leading from behind, strategic patience, all of which led under the course of 8 years to the exact situation that we're facing in America today. Iran on the front burner, North Korea on the front burner, Russia on the front burner, China on the front burner, emboldened by the lack, essentially, of response from the past 8 years, except one response that was completely unacceptable and unnecessary, was the invasion, or the destruction, I should say, of Libya and the removal of Gaddafi. That was looked upon as something great. Gaddafi didn't do a damn thing. Gaddafi was low-hanging fruit. And he was, so what do you have in Libya today? You have chaos from a guy that didn't pose any real threat whatsoever. Legacy of Obama, oh my God. Absolutely incredible. We've got 3 more minutes till the top of the hour break. I would throw this out to you also, Dan Butcher, and that's this. You have to factor in the Sunni-Shia equation as well, and that is Iran and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and Iran are not the bestest of buds. So I submit it's not entirely impossible that whatever impact may have of Iran deciding that they're going to minimize the amount of, by the way, Iran is known for its incredible, what they call sweet crude. It's a rather exceptional amount of oil, unrefined, that they have access to. I suspect that it might not be entirely impossible that Saudi Arabia maybe even looks to a bit of OPEC and says perhaps it might be time to kick up just a bit of the supply in order to make up for what happened to Iran's. I think we can pretty much rest assured that Iran is going to lower its oil output. The other thing is, we have to realize here in the United States, we have it rather nice in terms of there's a big spot of ocean separating us from that other entire continent. So when Syria decided to invade Western Europe, and they did, Western Europe, France, Germany, etc., they all have to worry about what's happening in Iran because that's kind of in their backyard. Israel, of course, has it the worst because they're so damn close to it all, but I can understand to a degree why France and Germany, they might be a little bit concerned about this. But overall, in the big picture, we're, as you mentioned, Dan, we're going to have to kind of take it up the shorts a little bit. We might see some higher oil prices for a time. I think this is going to be temporary. We're having to endure this on an economy that's much better now than it was 4 years ago in terms of employment, business. So if we're going to take it at a time, this would be one of the best times to take that. Folks, we're going to go on a break. We're going to be gone for about 3 or 4 minutes. And when we come back, we're going to change gears just a bit. We're going to talk about something that happened recently involving a bit of schadenfreude. If you don't know what that is, look it up. And then a really odd thing happened to Paul Ryan today. Very, very strange. And, well, I just happened to chalk it up to he's kind of a lame duck. You're listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin, live and direct on the SHR Media Network. Come right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Here on the SHR Media Network, I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Like a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show right here, live and direct in the SHR Media studios, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. And I want to say something. Guess what? Something amazing has happened, and I have to give props where props are due. Guess what? Dan Butcher is exactly 100% correct. Because here's what happened. From Fox News, Patrick Morrissey pulls off upset in West Virginia Senate primary and beats the other two guys, beats Blankenship, beats him like a big bass drum, and also Morrissey. So guess what? Dan Butcher, High Plains Media, pundit, journalist extraordinaire. Dude, it was like you were prescient. You called it, mister.
I just flipped a coin. Like any good political procrastinator would do.
Well, I have to give credit where credit is due. You called it. You didn't have much time to call it, and it turns out you're absolutely correct. Don Blankenship went down. Now, whether or not that was directly due to Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, having said something similar to, don't put your votes behind this Blankenship guy. But in between Morrissey and Jenkins, well, guess what? Morrissey pulled it out. And you said, if I'm not mistaken, sir, that you believe that Morrissey will now have a fairly decent chance of beating incumbent in West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, who has...
Actually, I said that the winner of the Republican primary will have a tough time.
Oh, tough time. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Because
the reason that I said that
he's already leaning right.
Yeah, because of how far to the right he lives. Right. He does lean, and the guy is still beloved in West Virginia. And the fact that he often gave the Obama administration a big a single finger salute, and that he's kind of a thorn in the side of the leftist Democrats right now, plays very well for him, and so that's so it's going to be a real tough one. The Republicans have a real tough challenge with that, but depending on how things go, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's really up to Morrissey to sell himself to the voters of West Virginia, and basically it's going to come down to what can I do better for you folks? What can I? Let's even go. Let's just be point blank. What can I do better for the coal industry in West Virginia than the incumbent?
Yep, that's going to be absolutely correct.
Yeah.
This little tidbit, though, if the GOP appears so willing to throw $10 million in a primary, I wonder what kind of funding they're going to be looking at and focusing on in terms of the acquisition of the West Virginia Senate seat. I wonder if they're going to continue on that same course. Hey, it worked once. We got a guy that we like, and maybe it's worth throwing some more cash at that Senate seat.
And let's point this out. The Republican Party has cash to burn. They have cash to spend on these primaries. Yeah. The Democrats do not. The Democrats are about $500,000 in the hole. If they're being truly transparent, they may be in the hole more than that.
That's true.
The Democrats are broke. They have no money, even with all their fundraising. they have no money because guess what? They have found out that all their outstanding creditors, hey, we want to be paid. And so you're going to pay us. And so they don't have any money to spend on these races. And that's something that could be very...
At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
Very damaging to Manchin in West Virginia if the Democrat Party cannot help him out, and the Republicans are pour another if the Republicans pour another couple of million into that race, Morrissey could give him an actual run in the general primary in November.
I'm going to you put on your thinking cap and you threw out a prognostication. By God, you were right. So BZ's going to do this right now. I'm going to say that we're not going to see the so-called blue tsunami in November.
No.
I'll go so far as to wager that it's going to be incredibly close, but in the end, Manchin is going to lose. Just saying. For right now, because I think the head of steam that the GOP, against themselves, they are frequently their own worst enemies, but I think this steam is starting to build up. Here's another illustration of that occurring, and I think I have a really good explanation for this, but I found this story buried in the Washington Examiner. Paul Ryan, calls for the DOJ to hand over Russian investigation documents. For Paul Ryan to have said that today, House Speaker Paul Ryan, that loving Wisconsin Republican, he called for the Department of Justice to hand over a bunch of the controversial documents with regard to the Russian investigation. But he hedged, and this should come as no surprise. He would not say if he supported the effort of House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes to hold Attorney General Jeff Sessions in contempt if the documents are not given to Congress. My first thought is, hey, Paul Ryan equals lame duck, and he really doesn't have anything to pay for having said this. But of course, just like Paul Ryan did, he didn't go all the way. Did he use a condom? I just wonder if he used a condom. Does he ever use a condom? That's all I wonder.
Yeah, you have to wonder if Paul Ryan did this today to kind of distract. He had to swear in. You have to remember Paul Ryan kind of stepped in it big time when he called for the current chaplain to step down, and then of course he had to swallow his pride and swear the chaplain back in today. So you're wondering if did Paul Ryan's office throw out a little nugget out there to kind of distract from that? I found this quote very interesting from Ryan. Ryan said, "We expect the administration to comply with our document request as a matter of form for the executive branch and our legislative branch oversight." So I haven't spoken with Devin about this. We have a thorough process we go through, but we clearly expect the administration to honor our document request. You talk about a quote that says a whole lot of nothing.
Those are weasel
That's what
words.
Every one of these politicians say about document requests.
Weasel words.
You have to think, this was just a little nugget to throw out there, maybe to, hey, you know what? Hey, remember me? I'm still Speaker of the House. I'm still here a little bit. By the way, I'm having to swear this chaplain in that I really don't like.
Okay.
And I was a complete and utter asshole, too.
Now, you mentioned... You mentioned that article, and I'm not going to let you get away with it. You tried to make a chaplain drive-by, and I have to tell you that's a story I haven't heard. And because I haven't heard it, maybe you could tell myself and the rest of the people that are listening, I'm not aware of what happened with regard to the chaplain and or Paul Ryan, so maybe you could kind of clue me in on that.
Okay,
I haven't heard it.
Okay, so Ryan, on top of the comments that Ryan gave today, he also addressed the chaplain controversy, and this happened today. And this, of course, this has to do with Father Patrick Conroy. And he said, Ryan had this to say about it. He said, we talked about how to improve the services going forward, Ryan said, in the Tuesday press availability. We're going to keep talking to make sure I think we can ultimately make improvements so that everyone has access to the pastoral services that they are looking for. Now, basically what Ryan was being he was real critical of the way Father Conroy was handling his duties as chaplain and making different services available to different members of Congress and different things like that. So basically, he ended up calling for the resignation of the chaplain, and of course, in this particular case, Father Conroy is the faith advisor to all the members of Congress, and so there was just a lot of controversy surrounding this. A lot of people thought, why is Ryan why is he involving himself in it's what seems such a trivial situation. Why is this? Why is that? Now you have to remember, Paul Ryan is also Catholic, so there was it
right.
looked more along the lines. What it ended up looking like was, for some reason, there seemed to be a personal beef, a personal conflict between Father Conroy and the speaker.
Okay.
And that's what it kind of boiled down to. The men just kind of butted heads. And evidently, Father Conroy is very well liked, very well respected by members of Congress, and a lot of so it left a lot of people scratching their heads. Why is Ryan saying, "Hey, we need another house chaplain"? Da 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 da. It was such a minuscule thing, So why is he involving himself in this? And why is he trying to cause such a controversy? And it became a controversy just because of, why is the Speaker of the House involving himself in something like this? And then, of course, the backlash from the fellow Republicans against the Speaker, which has been a common occurrence during his tenure as Speaker. This certainly, this was just something, so trivial, especially since he's the outgoing speaker. He had been trying to tout his accomplishments and stuff like that. Well, here's what's going to happen. For years now, people are going to come back and talk, hey, you remember what? You know what? The last thing we remember about Paul Ryan is he tried to have the pastoral advisor fired.
At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability, because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
From the house, So it was just, the fact that it was such a trivial thing is what made it such a major thing. And the backlash from his fellow Republicans against the Speaker, it kind of highlighted a little bit. It even goes further this. It kind of highlighted a little bit more that even though it looks like on the surface and out in public that all of the Republicans are playing nicey nice now and that they're starting to come together, what this showed was something as trivial as this can create a big, strong divide between the leadership and the Republicans, and amongst the Republicans themselves. There's still a lot of there's still a lot of division within the ranks of the Republican Party, and they showed something as trivial as this that can divide the Republicans. Think about something major that comes along and what it could do to them. Something major could cause them, the U.S. Senate. Heaven forbid, could cause them to lose the House of Representatives.
Right.
And heaven forbid in 2020 cause them to lose the White House. So this highlights that the Republicans still have a long ways to go in mending the fences and building the bridges within their own ranks. BZ.
Now, we mentioned Paul Ryan. We mentioned the Speaker. And I'm going to throw this out there as well. It appears at this point that there are two people that would consider replacing Paul Ryan. One would be Kevin McCarthy. I've heard his name thrown around a couple of times. And the other guy that I readily admit up front, I am biased for this guy, is Representative Steve Scalise, who was seriously wounded in that 2017 baseball shooting. By a guy who happened to be a left-winger, Bernie Sanders supporter. I bring this up whenever I can because the facts are the facts and they're not changing. Do you have any thoughts or prognostications about who it is that the GOP might decide to replace Ryan with? Maybe Scalise or McCarthy? I think McCarthy has the upper hand at this point.
Yeah, you know what? I think McCarthy has. He has the rank and file Democrats behind him.
Yep.
But it also depends on the divide. Scalise has a lot of sympathy behind him. And he does where McCarthy is kind of, of course he is the House Majority Leader, whereas McCarthy is the House Whip, and so Scalise is the House Whip.
Right.
So Scalise does a lot of things behind the scenes to try to bring the party together, versus where McCarthy's more out in the public. And so there is still, this brings me back to the small divide that you have in the Republican Party. It depends on who's going to go decide to what. McCarthy would seem to be in the more powerful position to be the heir apparent just because of the position he holds. But there's a lot of Republicans that might see this as a chance to make a difference. And to do something a little different to kind of shake things up to try to bring the party. It's going to depend on who can bring everybody together in this. And so you can argue that maybe McCarthy, who is a loyalist to Paul Ryan, might be more divisive versus Scalise, who might have a sympathy vote. Everybody likes him. Can he bring them together? I don't know. I'm going to throw one more name out that you don't hear a lot about.
Okay.
And this guy is a gentleman by the name of he's Representative Mac Thornberry.
Haven't heard of him.
Thornberry actually happens to be my congressman here where I live, and he is the chairman of the Armed Services Committee right now. A very, very powerful position in the House. And very quietly, Mac Thornberry is a very, very powerful member of Congress and does a lot of things behind the scenes. And so he's one of those names that you don't hear a lot about, but all of a sudden could surprise you when the vote's coming out and you start hearing more about what he's doing and different things. So he's very well liked by all the Republicans. If you want to say the Republicans on the left, Republicans on the right, Thornberry tends to walk the center aisle. But the fact that he does oversee such a powerful committee and a lot of the different things that he does behind the scenes, he's one of those ones kind of on the outside looking in that could make a lot of noise as being the next speaker as well.
That's why I love having you, Dan Butcher, on the show, because you provide insight that a lot of other people don't have. I hadn't thought about that. I had really almost no idea who Thornberry was. That's why we have you on the program, and that's why you're here to provide insight that a lot of other folks otherwise would not be able to do. Now let's go across the pond again. Let's jump across that vast ocean, and let's go back into the Pan-Asiatic theater for just a moment. We know now that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un had what was now termed a secret meeting with China President Xi Jinping.
Right.
And they met, yesterday and today, and that now makes the third time that Lil Kim has left the hermit kingdom, so to speak, since he took power about almost 7 years ago or so. So it was only announced by state television after Kim flew out of the country this time. Now, this is interesting because the first time, about 4 months ago, he took the green armored choo-choo train of death from North Korea up to have a little secret summit with Xi Jinping, who waggled his finger in the little fat boy's face for a moment. Now, I'm curious. Well, not curious. I would wager that he's probably having a great deal to do with setting up Kim Jong-un's talking points with regard to the meeting in North Korea with President Trump later on this month. Again, wouldn't you love to have been, Dan Butcher, a fly on the wall in those meetings? I would love to have heard the witty repartee and the tete-a-tete, the coming and going, the exchange of meaningful ideas between these two great leaders in that continent.
Well, let me tell you this, BZ. You know, the Chinese are very interesting because, you know, where a lot of us look at things in terms of a few months ahead, a year, maybe 5 years, 10 years, you know, the Chinese look at stuff in terms of 100 years, 200 years. You know, that's the way they plan out and look at things because they've been around for so blasted long.
Yes.
And so they look at that. They look at the overall picture around, and you know, and the Chinese have a lot at stake here. Obviously, economically, not militarily, but economically, they want to maintain a certain economic influence in the Asian Peninsula. They want to maintain a certain economic influence across the entire globe, and so. And obviously, they want to become a major player diplomatically, and we've long said that, you know, that in order to bring North Korea, you know, to the table and into compliance and stuff, that, you know, the Chinese government would have to be involved in some way, and of course, North Korea depends on, you know, it's just kind of like a kid, you know, that's you know. That's on a trust fund, still depending on their rich parents for everything. That's the way North Korea is with the Chinese. The Chinese are holding the strings to little Kim's trust fund, and so. That being said, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with the Chinese and the Trump administration, and making sure all of this is going to come off and work. And here's the interesting thing: you have to remember, think about how long Kim did not come out in public because he was scared somebody was going to park a missile in his face, you know, try to assassinate him. And now here he is traveling openly, freely, meeting with world leaders. And so that tells me that he has assurances that somebody's not going to kill him. And so the Chinese obviously are going to try to, you know, get what they can out of this, just like the Trump administration is going to. You know, the Kim is he's just hoping for survival at this point with these negotiations. He wants to be assured that he's not going to be removed from power and different things like that. And I think at some point that will happen because, you know, if there is a reunification between North and South Korea, it's certainly not going to be under a Kim dictatorship. So we know that that's going back. So Kim is probably trying to negotiate the best deal to where he can go off and retire there in some villa somewhere, and he can eat all of the Jell-O pudding that he loves, and different things that and all of the crazy American movies that he likes to watch, et cetera, et cetera. That's what he's negotiating for at this point, I think. But the Chinese definitely, the Chinese need us. And as much as we hate to admit it, we need the Chinese because there's a mutual, there's a stake. There's a mutual thing there economically as far as trade,
yes.
diplomacy, and different things like that. So it's all in the best interest. And folks, for everybody that underestimated Donald Trump, you should be eating your words right now, because it is Donald Trump that's calling the shots right now. It is not the Iranians. It is not Barack Obama. It's not John Kerry. It's not the Chinese. It's not the North Koreans. It's not NATO. Anybody like that. It is Donald J. Trump is calling the shots on this. And when you have an unemployment rate that was just reported, it came in at 3.9%, the lowest unemployment rate that we've had in decades, that's not Obama. That's all due to Donald Trump. Gross domestic product increasing, et cetera, et cetera. Donald Trump is doing everything he said he was going to do, whether you like it or not. And he's sticking to his guns. He's putting the people in place, and he's calling the shots on this. And think about this. Donald Trump is not only bringing North Korea to the bargaining table, he's bringing the Chinese to the bargaining table. He's definitely brought the Russians back into the bargaining table with this, because they're going to have to be involved with a lot of stuff involving Iran. And you had better believe that probably sometime in the near future, the Iranians are going to make a lot of noise. Death to the U.S., death to Israel. But at some point, they're going to realize, oh, wait a minute, we don't have no money coming in. We're very vulnerable. We're going to have to start negotiating again. And at some point, the Iranians will come to the bargaining table as well. When the Iranians come to the bargaining table, we have the Russians at the bargaining table, and we've got that situation going after Donald J. Trump has ended the Korean War. Guess what? Then we can start having – that's going to also include bringing Israel to the talks, and then we can actually start talking about real peace in the Middle East. And I'm sorry I was a little long-winded. I know you got to go to a break, my friend.
That's okay. One question that I'd like to ask you when we come back, and I know you have a ready answer now, but I'm going to tease it just a little bit. Two things. Number one, I'm going to ask you when we come back, who do you think is the greatest geopolitical threat right now? Is it Russia, or is it China? And also, when we come back, myself and Dan Butcher are going to delve into the buttery goodness that his actual, and you mentioned Trump being prescient a little bit. Oh, we're going to delve into that, Dan, because we're going to find out that Trump was, in fact, prescient. And, in fact, I'm going to talk about a little Demarat schadenfreude that occurred today. Ooh, it doesn't get any better than this.
That was easy. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sackheads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I want to tell you, from my house to yours, from my studio to your house, from my microphone to the ossicles inside your head. In our ossicles, we hear this cry of glory, and that is the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show live and direct here on the SHR Media Network every Tuesday and Thursday night. We're speaking to none other than Dan Butcher of High Plains Pundit Media fame. there's so much to go over with tonight. And Dan, I asked you before the break because I would get different answers from different individuals. I got a damn good idea what you think. But I asked you when we come back, Dan, what do you think is the greatest geopolitical threat to the United States these days? Would it be that evil empire Russia or those conciliatory people who are playing nice in the neighborhood, China?
You know what? Here's the thing. I think it would be Russia, and here's why. Because the Chinese have built an economy. Think about this. The Chinese have built an economy based on capitalism.
Yep.
Here's a communist country that has given their people just enough taste of freedom to be successful in everything they do. And so they look at everything. The Chinese do not look at stuff from a military. A lot of people think that they do, but they don't look. If the Chinese are looking at conquering the world, they're looking at buying it one parcel of land or one company at a time. That's the way the Chinese look at things. They're looking at things economically. How can we assert ourselves economically across the globe? Now, the Russians, on the other hand, what do they have? Okay, well, they've got some really bad vodka right now. And what else do they have? Oh, by the way, we have oil and natural gas, which they try to hang over the Europeans. Okay, to say, you know what, we're going to cut this off.
And
we
they
don't
do.
this and this.
Yep.
And so, but the Europeans have found other ways to compensate that, to the point now where they're saying, up yours to Russia with your natural gas and oil. And so what do the Russians have left? Well, they've still got some nuclear bombs and some missiles, and they've got a rusting fleet here and there. And they've still got some military might here and there. And so that's how the Russians are trying to flex their muscles again, using the old KGB standby of force. And you know what? Hey, we're still whereas the Chinese are saying, hey, we're an economic force to be reckoned with. The Russians are saying, hey, we are still a military power to be reckoned with. So how is Trump responding to that? Just like how he responded with the Chinese. Okay, so of course, he responds with the Chinese by saying, hey, we're going to start making our trade deals more fair, where they are balanced between the United States and other countries, specifically the Chinese, or we're going to start putting additional tariffs on these different products to even everything out a little bit, okay? And so how is he responding to the Russians? You have noticed that Trump tends to be very proactive. He's not reactive. He's proactive in everything he does, and just like a good businessman would be. He's looking at the situation, being proactive. And he was proactive before he even came into office during the campaign, saying this is what we need to do with the Chinese as far as trade agreements, as far as import, exports, etc. And now what you're seeing, he's also doing that with the Russians. And the Russians have been telling, hey, we're going to develop some new systems, this and this and this, some new weapons, this. And so
at Canik Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canik Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability, because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canik, superior firearms.
All of a sudden, Trump responds by, we're going to increase our military spending. We're actually going to be able to repair all of our aircrafts. We're going to be able to make sure that, we can fight more than one war front at a time now. Our troops are going to have everything that they need. And, by the way, BZ, just this week, the Obama administration announced that the U.S. Navy is going to reactivate the Second Fleet. Of course, the Second Fleet was deactivated in September 2011 after 65 years of service as a cost-saving measure in, quote, organizational restructuring effort by the Obama administration. And, of course, the the Second Fleet is going to oversee the northern Atlantic Ocean and the U.S. East Coast. So here you have Putin and the Russians spouting off, we're going to do this. So you know what? Trump says, hey, you know what? My Navy's bigger than yours, and I'm going to show you. So we're going to reactivate a lot of the stuff that the Obama administration cut by trying to actually neuter our military. We're going to give our military everything they need to defend our country. And oh, by the way, Vladimir Putin, if you try to do something, guess what? We have the capability to make sure that you don't do that. So kind of unofficial détente, kind of like what we had with the Cold War. Obviously, just the fear of us being able to take them out is enough to kind of keep them in check. And the fact that you're seeing the type of stuff that we're doing with our military shows that certainly Donald Trump is taking the rhetoric of Vladimir Putin very, very seriously versus basically, Barack Obama was Putin's punching bag, and Donald Trump is saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be your punching bag.
Those
the
days
United
are
States
over.
of America is not going to be anybody's punching bag. And you know what? Anybody in the free world is not going to be your punching bag. And so that is what's going to bring the Russians to the negotiating table, because once they figure out that, we can't do anything militarily, we're going to have to find something to do economically, or we're going to be in a world of hurt.
This just happened today. This was absolutely glorious. We're gonna come back across the ocean and go to the and enter the United States of America once again. Now, Dan, we're going to travel to the Northeast. We're going to travel up to New York and to D.C. And as we're traveling up there, one very interesting thing occurred today with regards to a certain individual's resignation. And this is where BZ gets to throw the Schadenfreude Bobcat right into the blender. And that's this. The state of New York, the Attorney General resigned today. Now, he's a man by the name of Eric Schneiderman. And if you were to ask him, he was the number one supporter of women. And, here, let me just start with this article from, of all places, Yahoo News. Now, after I read this article, I've got an audio clip queued up, which, if you want to laugh, and I hope you want to laugh, Dan, this is an audio clip from another little leftist chickie who was touting Eric Schneiderman. And Eric Schneiderman, here's the article, like I say, from Yahoo, of course, a left-leaning organ. Eric Schneiderman made fighting against sexual abuse and harassment a signature issue, first as a state senator and then as New York's Attorney General. Schneiderman resigned Monday after 4 women accused the Democrat of violence in a New Yorker article. Not sexual harassment, folks. Violence. Here are some of his comments over the years. The Senate cannot turn a blind eye to an act of violence, to an act of domestic violence, a crime for which the state of New York has a zero-tolerance policy, and an attempt to evade responsibility for such a crime through dishonesty and bullying. In February 2010, after the then state senator voted to oust a colleague convicted of misdemeanor assault, oppression is oppression, and male supremacists always fear the voices of women. We need to build a movement for the true equality and freedom for women, a movement against male supremacy in all its forms and manifestations, and we need to build this movement from the ground up, focusing on state as well as federal action. That's our loving Eric Schneiderman. He's the guy that all the Democrats said, we huzzah, huzzah. He's better than sliced cheese. With one exception, I'm going to have to come up to my gallery because I now refer, and I took this so that I could specifically mention it today. Here's a tweet by Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. And he made this on Twitter on March 11th of 2013. Prescience. And he said this: Wiener is gone. Spitzer is gone. Next will be lightweight AG Eric Schneiderman. Is he a crook? Wait and see. Worse than Spitzer or Wiener? Now, if that's not a bit of prescience, I don't know what is. But now, folks, I want to make you laugh because this is a little leftist chickie, a little leftist Demorat chickie by the name of Samantha B., who is showing us that Eric Schneiderman is a guy that he is the savior from above. Huzzah, huzzah.
Today is November 8th, which means Donald Trump was elected president exactly 100 years ago. I'm kidding. It's only been a year. Oh my, where'd this come from? President Bone Spur has had more endurance than predicted, especially if you were predicting his endurance by looking at literally any photo of him being physical ever. But there is hope on the horizon. A hero who stood up to democracy's nemesis before. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
I'm Eric Schneiderman, and I'm the Attorney General of the state of New York, the lawyer for the state of New York and for the people of the state of New York.
Happy 1 year anniversary.
Well, thank you.
You must be so happy that Trump won because he's giving you so much material. What a great time to be an attorney.
Yeah, it's like a toxic volcano that just keeps belching out bad public policies.
Right.
But we have a very strong legal resistance.
Are you going to lead us out of the darkness?
The state attorneys general are going to be the first line of defense because the Constitution kept a lot of power at the state level to hold a potential tyrant in check. We have that power now, and with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh my God.
Nothing.
At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
Thing beats quoting a Spider-Man line from a Marvel comic.
Schneiderman does whatever a Schneider can. Only he can save us all.
No, there's not going to be one hero. There's not going to be a quick fix for this. But I got colleagues all around the country, a network of progressive attorneys general who are really in the core of the legal resistance.
You are fighting the good fight.
Fighting the good fight, the core of legal resistance, Dan Butcher. And then today he fell. He fell terribly off his perch. Oh, whoa. Where's my fainting couch? I need to faint backwards into my fainting couch. Dan, I'm swooning. Would you help me here, sir?
Well, let me tell you something. Eric Schneiderman's going to jail. No doubt about it.
He is.
Think about this. Bill Cosby's going to jail, folks. Don't think that he's not. And now, let me tell you how serious this is, because Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus R. Vance Jr. Has launched an investigation into the soon-to-be former Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. Of course, they're launching this investigation dealing with the repeated physical abuse of these four women, folks. And I know we're having some fun with this and stuff, but let's talk about how serious this is.
Oh, it is.
This is not
absolutely.
A guy. This is not a guy that was accused of sexual harassing somebody, of making unwanted advances. This is not a guy that's been accused of an affair. This is a guy that is accused of beating women, physically abusing women. And do not be surprised if you may have some rape allegations in there as well that comes out during this investigation. This guy is a guy that tried to stand up and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a model of defending women's rights, of defending women from abusers, making sure this doesn't happen to them. And he's using it as a front, the sorry asshole, and saying, hey, to cover up his own abuse of women, the fact that he is beating a woman. Oh,
it's Harvey Weinstein repeated again, only on a political level.
Talking about it. And so this guy, this is and look to watch and see, because this shows a bigger problem within the Democrat Party, because normally they will try to cover up a lot of this stuff. Hey, it was just a little affair. Oh, he just slipped a little something in somebody's drink yesterday. This was just this, and this. But this is an actual. This guy was beating up on women. Very credible witnesses. This isn't a lot of the crap. A lot of the nonsense that you have seen willed out by the Democrats trying to discredit Trump, trying to discredit other Republicans and stuff. These are very credible women with reports and different things, and so this guy is going to go to jail, and I'm thinking there's probably a place in hell waiting for him as well, man. But once again, how this is one, and this points out another thing, and I want to bring this up and then and give it back to you, BZ. But the Republicans always lose in the court of public opinion when it comes to moral issues for some reason. But yet the Democrats, for some reason, always seem to be able to withstand stuff like this. So this is a golden opportunity to point out, hey, looky here, folks. Here is a guy that was sworn to protect women from the very violence that he perpetrated upon them, and so they need to show that and make an example out of this guy.
I would completely agree. Now, Harvey Weinstein occurred. It was Ronan Farrow, if I'm not mistaken, who originally spilled the entire Weinstein thing wide open, and now we have Eric Schneiderman. I would submit, I'd throw to all of you leftists, Democrats, and American media maggots that if you want to find out and see who has actual white privilege these days, it would be white men who are Democrats who live in the Northeast, or they live in major bastions of leftist idealism, like Hollywood, like Harvey Weinstein. We have GAUPs, which are guilty, overeducated white people, as I've said. And if you want the perfect illustration of Caucasoid male privilege, white privilege, you have to look no further than Harvey Weinstein. Numerous people covered him up for years. Now we have Eric Schneiderman. Apparently, this was fairly well known back in 2013, 5 years ago, when when Donald Trump, not running for politics, happened to mention the knowledge of Eric Schneiderman. Even back then, the biggest abusers, it turns out, of women are not necessarily those on the right. Now, I shouldn't have to make any kind of a political distinction, for example, between men who abuse women. People who do that are men who do that are execrable, as are women who do it to men. And having worked in sex assaults, I know, quite frankly, at least in the 90s, and I don't suspect the statistics have changed in any kind of a major fashion, I knew that in terms of assaults, women frequently hit men as much as men hit women, with the exception that men are too embarrassed to report. And the other aspect is that men are not injured in the same percentile as women are injured at the hands of men. Having said that, to find that I hate to politicize this, but I only politicize it because the top of my blog, bloviatingzeppelin.net, says I am pushback. And I'm tired of the years of bullshit of leftists on their pedestals saying that, oh my God, we're so good. We are the party of women. Our men love women. We are supportive of women. That is to say, until we beat the holy hell out of them, or we screw them, or we rape them, or we assault them, or we sexual harass them. We are serial sexual harassers, and perhaps some politicians unnamed at this point who might even be serial rapists. I can't say for sure. I wasn't there. But the hypocrisy on this issue is the thing that makes me want to bring this to the forefront. And so when Eric Schneiderman is going down and he will, and when Harvey Weinstein is going down, and he will, and Bill Cosby went down, as I think is perfectly justified, the hypocrisy is staggering. It's absolutely staggering. When you come back...
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah, definitely so. And, I'll end it with this, and it is, the fact that, the Democrats have long said, hey, the Republican Party is conducting a war on women. War on women this, war on women that. They're holding women back, da-da-da-da-da-da. When in reality, it is the Democrats themselves that are doing such things.
Exactly. Precisely. I couldn't. You have said it. I have to tell you, in retrospect, I sent you a text. I don't think you got it, but I said in chat, and I think via text, you have been more spot on tonight than at any other time that I've had the privilege of having you on the show. And I'd like to have you back, whether it's, I don't know, maybe next Tuesday. One of the biggest things that unfortunately I did not get to, and I particularly want to ask you, is regard to a report that came out. Let me see if I can find it. Reporters Without Borders. And I think this would lead to an excellent discussion. In Reporters Without Borders, they've said the RSF Index of 2018, hatred of journalism threatens democracies. And I have some very serious thoughts about that, as I'll wager you do too. But Dan Butcher, as per normal, 2 hours went as if it were 2 minutes. I thank you ever so kindly for being here in the saloon. It was a wonderful time. I apologize to those people that are just now showing up in chat who expected to have a show. I tried to get on social media as much as I could to let folks know that it was going to be starting 2 hours earlier today. I want to say this, however, to those folks who were in chat. Next Thursday's show is going to have Kel Fritzy on it. She lives in Canada. She knows a ton about Canada, knows a ton about Islam. We're going to update Kel with everyone. So that will be at the regular time, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. I just wanted to see this show if I happen to get any more listeners, and I'm not sure that that's going to occur until I get into a groove with this. But Dan Butcher, thank you very, very much for being on here tonight. If you're interested in coming back next Tuesday, man, is that ever an issue with your background in journalism and your current work in journalism. That's an issue that I would love to talk to you about. Dan, finally, can you tell folks where you can be found, where you can be read?
Yeah, you know what? If you just go to highplainspundit.com, highplainsdailynews.com, highplainstalkradio.com, that covers the whole gambit of everything that we do. You can also, of course, find us on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, and don't forget that SHRmedia.com. I just do some good old-fashioned blogging and news aggregation for SHR Media. So you see a lot of my stuff there as well, man.
Thank you very much. I thanked you very, very kindly at the beginning of the show, and I and everyone at SHR appreciate your diligent and hard work that you keep the SHRmedia.com website up and running and updated with new stories all the time, every day, every hour, every week. I thank you for your hard work with regard to that, Dan Butcher.
You bet. I appreciate it, BZ.
All right, take care. Folks, we've been talking to Dan Butcher, he of High Plains Media, and that's going to conclude the show. To those folks that were expecting a later show, I apologize. I may still have to work out some of the kinks in this. I was hoping that my social media would be able to get out to more people and more folks would be in chat and listening. Apparently that didn't get through. That didn't come through. My appy polyloggies to everybody. However, this coming Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel, BZ's Bloviating Zeppelin, Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio, 11 p.m. Eastern this Thursday, 8 p.m. Pacific this Thursday. And don't forget, tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Myself, the Bloviating Zeppelin, and Sackheads Clint in Sackheads Against Tyranny. Please be here tomorrow night, shrmedia.com.
Monsieur has unlocked!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com. If you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, at BZEP. My blog is bloviatingzeppelin.net, and these days I am updating the blog every damn day, finally. You can find me on email, bz@shrmedia.com. Promotional consideration by Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, the Boeing Corporation, If It Ain't Boeing, I Ain't Going, and Pratt & Whitney Engines Thrust. You can trust. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with which I will be consorting in a bit. Thanks to Dan Butcher for being in the show tonight. Thanks to you for listening live. Thanks to Simone. My apologies to the other folks. We're going to be here at regular time on Thursday. Thanks, moreover, to listening to me in podcast. You guys, God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night.
Good night, Jim Bob. Go ahead and sleep.
Good night, and good luck.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.